everyone, I'm Dr. Duke, and welcome to Political Jazz at Oliver McGee. Each week we dive into D.C. politics and speak directly to former White House senior advisor Oliver McGee. Oliver, it's been months in the making, but on Wednesday, President Trump made his way to Hanoi, Vietnam, to speak with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. This is the second meeting. This is kind of a big deal, even though the American press is downplaying it. What is your initial reaction to the second meeting between the two leaders?
This is the second of many. I think what we're seeing that's going to be displayed here is the tactical patience of Donald Trump's foreign policy. He gave us a signal about this during the State of the Union address, which he said this is about practical realism. And practical realism is about really changing how we do foreign policy in the United States. So many times what we've been doing has really been doing transactional foreign policy. Or right now, he's looking at relational foreign policy. The goals he's trying to achieve here is denuclearization, to finally be a man of peace, as he's talked about in the State of the Union address, Donald Trump. But he's also trying to bring Kim Jong-un into the peace table as well, because this is America's longest war. And a lot of people are not aware of that. We think of Afghanistan war as an 18-year war that's been going for a long time. But Korea, we never came to a peace treaty. So this is what they're trying to get to in their tactical patience here. But also, they're trying to introduce Korea to the Vietnam miracle, which enjoys right now 6% growth right now. And the reason they're having this talks at Hanoi is the symbolism that's associated with the economic miracle of Vietnam. And they're trying to show Korea what's possible if you you put down the bombs and put down the war and go to peace, you can get to economic prosperity. And that is the national security strategy of America First.
It is a great visual for the president to have this in Vietnam, of course, a former enemy that was not beaten on the battlefield through our own feckless government, but was ultimately tamed, if not conquered, by American capitalism and the idea of capitalism and freedom and free markets. So that's a good thing. But let me ask you, Oliver, what is realistically, given that we know that it's the hermit kingdom, that we know that Kim Jong-un is not the most reliable or honest of brokers, what realistically can Donald Trump ask for, and what can we give back in return that we think is going to be meaningful and not pie in the sky that'll never happen?
Well, part of practical realism is basically looking at facts, not emotions. It's really looking at trying to make sure that the team of Trump is actually empathizing with Korea and what they're trying to achieve now, asking the right questions on checking on the denuclearization process. But finally, this is ultimately about trying to get and reinvent Korea in the new economic fold under China. We really went to war with Korea, and at the same time that we were really going to war with China. So right now, we're trying to bring China to the trade table, and this is in the best interest of those talks to get to peace with Korea, so that China can make Korea a trade partner in the region like Vietnam is now. This is a very, very important, what I like to call Trump doctrine right now, practical realism, that many of the media are not talking about. They're distracted with the drama and the palace intrigue in Washington right now. But I'm taking a very calm stance and looking very carefully at Trump's Monroe Doctrine, which is practical realism.
I think it's interesting that if you look back at the Obama administration, Barack Obama didn't do a lot of these one-on-one summits. He was much more UN involved. He was much more willing to let other countries lead. It seems that what Donald Trump is doing here is also kind of remarkable. This is almost like a one-on-one diplomacy. The Europeans seem to have no hand in it as far as we can tell. The Chinese, right, who are major partners with North Korea and in many senses enable them, seem to be fairly quiet about this. Even the Russians, who have a stake in this, given how close Korea is to Russia, they don't seem to have much to say about this. Everybody's talking about a lot of things, but no one's talking about that. Do you think this is conscious on Donald Trump's part? Is this the cowboy in him? Or does he know something that appeasement regimes like the Obama administration didn't know?
I think he's being very, very tactical, just as you explained. But at the same time, this is Trump's China games, akin to Nixon's China games. And he's also resetting how we do our rhetoric with Russia. Because make no bones about it, Russia and China are the big global competitors to the United States. And for us to be really, really strong in our persuasion here, we have to have the two leaders utilize their power of persuasion very carefully, and also make sure that the communication lines are still open for Summit 2, Summit 3, Summit 4, even up to Summit 7. Because tactical patience in this type of diplomacy, basically ending a decades long war, the longest war in America, will require steady pacing, steady communication, and steady work, hard work in diplomacy. And really, this is an opportunity for America to redefine how it does the science of its relationships of living with our partners around the world together.
Do you think we'll actually see Kim Jong-un in Washington, D.C. before it's all said and done?
Absolutely. And that will be highly encouraged because that's, again, ultimate empathy. And he will have to come onto our platform and our turf where we can ask tougher questions. And also, we have to look very carefully to bring all sides of the table, particularly Kim Jong-un, in the honesty on how he's willing to open up North Korea to test what he's promising in denuclearization. Because ultimately, a world that is threatened by nuclear weapons cannot get to peace, and peace is about economic prosperity in the age of Trump.